welcome to my channel. I'm James, and this channel's all about great movies and great TV series from all over the world. And today I've got another special, very early advanced review for all of you. Today we're going to be deep diving into Children of the Corn 4K Ultra HD Blu Ray release. And this one I'm excited for, and a huge shout out to Arrow Video again for sending this to me almost 2 weeks advance before the release date for review. And this is another one of those early reviews that you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, so that way you don't miss out on any of this special or exclusive content that you're only going to get on my YouTube channel. Now, this is one that I've been excited to get for quite a while. And today we're going to be doing an exclusive 4K versus Blu-ray image comparison. And that's something I do exclusively on my YouTube channel as well. And if you've checked out some of my previous videos, I go back to the previous releases and do exclusive image comparisons, so that way you see the difference between what these new 4K restorations and remasters are versus the previous Blu-ray editions. Today we're going to be comparing this new 4K Ultra HD release versus the previous Arrow Video release that came out just before this. And there are some drastic differences that I think are going to surprise you between the two releases. While we're going through that, I'm going to do a movie review, what my thoughts are on the movie, kind of give you my opinion on what I thought about the movie itself. Then we're going to go into an unboxing. I'm going to show you what comes in the set, what you get in this special edition set. And then we're going to do a rundown of all the specs on the disc, what comes in the set and everything like that. And then at the end, we're going to wrap it up with my review score, my final thoughts as far as what my thoughts are and what my total review score is for this set. So you'll want to make sure you stick through the whole review so you don't miss out on any of this. All right, so to start off with the image comparison. Now, this is going to be to the previous Arrow Blu-ray release. Now, there was one by Anchor Bay many years ago, and that one actually was not a very good Blu-ray release. So Arrow Video came back and did a restoration that was done several years ago on Blu-ray. That's what we're going to be comparing this to, image quality side by side, to give you an idea. Now, we're going to start off with an image up here of Linda Hamilton. This is her character in the movie, that basically she's standing outside the cornfield with the car and things like that. And you'll see there's some drastic differences between the two of them in this image. And there's a lot of drastic differences as you're going along. I thought the original Blu-ray release by Arrow Video was pretty good looking, especially compared to that previous Anchor Bay release that came out before. That Anchor Bay release was kind of just washed out, muddled, and basically used way too much DNR, and so it overall just had kind of a waxy and kind of fuzzy appearance overall, and then they tried to sharpen it on that. It was not a great release. Well, the Blu-ray release that Arrow Video did before this 4K restoration, it looked really good compared to that Anchor Bay release. And that's what I'm showing you above, is that Blu-ray release from Arrow Video. When you compare that to this new 4K restoration, like for example, that picture you see of Linda Hamilton above, there's so much more depth to that image because there's so much more presented in this 4K image. And this 4K is a native 4K 2160p representation on it. So it's not an upscale. They did a full 4K restoration and scan on this. So as we're going along, the next picture I'll show you here is of a dog. So there's a dog in it that I thought originally on the Blu-ray, it looked great. And you'll see in that image there for the Blu-ray, now when you compare it to the 4K restoration on this 4K, man, there's so much more detail to even the hairs on the dog. How you can see way more of the hairs and basically the detail between his mane and his neck going down his fur coat. There's a lot more detail that shows up in this 4K restoration, especially with the lights to darks. And that's where, because they use Dolby Vision in this, and this is another Dolby Vision release, and I'll get to that later on when I talk about the specs, but the Dolby Vision with the lights to darks, the different shading, the different color elements, and the way more different levels of colors you can use in it, it drastically changes the image to be a more pleasant image to watch than even the previous Arrow Blu-ray release that came out before. And I've really been surprised by a lot of these 4K restorations that have been coming out lately, because there is some of them that have had some drastic differences, just like I recently talked about the Star Trek. And if you haven't checked out that Star Trek Restoration Remaster that I did a review on here just last week, you're going to want to check that one out. And I'll put the link up above so you can see that as well. But once you get done watching this review, make sure you go check that one out as well. I've done a lot of these 4K versus Blu-ray image comparisons over the years. And there's a lot of things that I've noticed when I go through these and I show the differences, especially screenshot for screenshot when I show them above. There's a drastic change. And the Star Trek one had a lot of drastic changes. There is a lot of things on this Children of the Corn that do look drastically different for the better than even the Blu Ray restoration that Arrow did before. And I thought that Arrow restoration was going to be hard to beat because I really did like the Arrow restoration they did of Children of the Corn before. But once I got a hold of this 4K that Arrow Video sent to me for review, and again, big shout out to Arrow Video for sending this to me early for review. They've been great to work with. I've been really enjoying getting these out to all of you early. That way you know if it's something you want to spend your money on or whether you don't. And as always, with every video, I will always have the link for everything I'm talking about, just like this 4K Ultra HD release by Arrow Video, in the description section right below this video. You click that arrow down, it opens up, the link for this will be listed out, as well as I will put the Blu Ray release of this Children of the Corn from Arrow Video in that link below this description section as well. So make sure if you're going to pick this up, go down through that description section link below. That does help support the channel as well, and I do appreciate it. This is another one that there is a drastic difference between. And I'll show you a screenshot above of the children in the corn at night, how much of a difference it was between the Blu Ray and this new 4K restoration that drastically changed the mood of the film. And I actually think it enhanced it even more. Because of the HDR implementation on this, the colors, the darkness in the dark images versus you'll notice on the Blu-ray it looked good, but even the black level and the black saturation was not nearly as deep as it is because of the HDR and obviously the 4K image, that it added way more depth, even though I will admit there is way more film grain that appears in this 4K representation than there was in the Blu-ray before. And the Blu-ray did have film grain before that you could definitely notice, but this definitely shines with way more film grain, which added way more depth to that darkness of the image, dark to lights because of the HDR, and that scene that you see above with the children in the corn at night with the flames on the torches and things, man, that image drastically looks better on the 4K versus than that Blu-ray, and it added a way more eerie feeling to that scene, which I thought the Blu-ray did a good job of, but man, the 4K added a whole new element to it. And as we're going along, you're going to see more and more of that with the differences between the lights to darks in the cornfields, in the town, all different things, that it shows you how much more depth when they leave that film grain and don't use DNR to take it out, which I will report. They did not use DNR in this release. They did leave that in there, just like in that Star Trek one I recently talked about, that I did a 4K versus Blu-ray comparison, and this one does look a lot better than the previous Blu-ray release. And as far as my opinion goes, this 4K representation is the ultimate way to own Children of the Corn. And to give you an idea of what Children of the Corn is about, in case you haven't seen it, it's a Stephen King horror thriller, and it's an 80s movie. If you haven't seen the film, it's got a lot of like mystery and thriller and intrigue. You're trying to figure out what's going on, and it's basically about a town that it starts in the past, basically 3 years before some of the major events happen. It's kind of leading up to what's happening in this Nebraska town. It's in Gatlin, Nebraska. It's basically a town that has corn and things like that. And basically, without giving away too much, the town kind of gets overtaken by this kind of like cultish group of children led by Jacob. And the town gets taken over by a bunch of creepy, like culty kids that basically get rid of all the adults. And it flash forward basically 3 years later, and Linda Hamilton and Peter Horton are basically coming through the town, car breaks down, and they end up getting involved with this town and these kids, and it's basically unraveling the mystery of what's going on. And it does have some really great like creep out, like just all together creepy scenes in it, without being, in my opinion, over the top. As you all know, I do like creepy thriller, I guess you could call them creepy thriller horrors that don't get too graphic or violent or things like that. And this is one of those films that I think does a good job of it. It gives you that really creepy feeling. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And then at the end, I did think it had a good ending as well. And that's where I feel like the film shined. It was another 80s like creepy thriller horror by Stephen King that was really kept you engrossed in it. And it's become a big cult classic over the years as time has gone on. More and more people have grown to like the film more and more and understood it more. And that's how I feel like this film is I definitely have enjoyed it more as time has gone on, and I definitely think it looks great on this 4K release. Though I will warn you, on this 4K release, there is some things that I had never noticed before. Even on the Blu-ray release, there is some scenes that have some blood and gore in them, but you couldn't quite see them as well because like they'd be in the sand and things like that, where you couldn't quite see the blood as well in the sand. And there's a scene I'll show you above that I'll put a screenshot above, of where it shows the blood coming across the sand. In the Blu-ray, you can see it, but it kind of looks more like oil, and you can't really tell what it is. On the Blu-ray, the red of the blood is way more noticeable versus the sand, as well as you can see like all the little rocks and little like grains of corn and grains of sand and things like that in the 4K release. Even with the film grain, it did bring out that detail way more with way more depth that I was really surprised about, because again, I thought the previous Blu-ray release that Arrow did of this was really great. And this one just shows how much of a better job they did with this 4K restoration. And it does look great, but you will notice things like that there is a little bit more gore and blood than what I remembered, because in the original Blu-ray release that Arrow did, it just kind of looked like more or less like mud or kind of like oil a lot of the time. Whereas now you can actually see more or less of that reddish tinge to the blood. So that is something interesting that happened with this 4K restoration. Now, I will touch on this. With this new restoration, they did a great job of not changing the colors of the film to be something that took away from what it was originally intended to be by the director. It does have that same creepy effect. Even in the daytime scenes, there is kind of a haze over the film, which is on purpose. It's given like a dark, cloudy day scheme behind it, which I did appreciate that they didn't take that away. Yes, it does have more life to the image, which you'll notice in like skin tones. The skin tones have more life to them where it looks more realistic, but not so much where it looks like they're super tan or super red, where all of a sudden their skin tones are like so red they look like they're burnt. They didn't do any of that. They left it so it looks natural. They just scanned it with a brand new 4K scan, which gave so much more life to that image with that HDR. So that really surprised me as well, that how much they could bring out more so in this 4K release than what they were able to do with the previous Blu-ray release. So if you own that previous Arrow Video Blu-ray release, this one still is a huge upgrade over that, to where if you own that, I still think you're going to want to pick this one up. Now, I will warn you, for those of you that watch my channel, I always try to tell you what's in this. This is rated R for basically violence and language. And I will say there is some scare scenes and it is violent, though to me it wasn't over the top. It's not a all-out slasher flick where it's just gore and violence and lopped off limbs and constant things like that. I think it's done very well, and that's why it's one of those few like thriller horrors that I do enjoy, because to me it wasn't over the top where I couldn't enjoy it and just enjoy the story without it being so, in my opinion, grotesque. But to each your own. As you all know that watch the channel, each one of you might have a different opinion on that, but I just try to share my opinion on it. So that way, if any of you are offended or not offended, or you think, oh, well, that had too much gore in it, I'm kind of letting you know so that way you have an idea on that. Now, before we get to the unboxing and the rest of this exciting information, I do have something I'm going to cover real quick with all of you, so make sure you stick around. You don't want to miss out on any of this. I get asked a lot of questions about how you can help support this YouTube channel. As all of you know that have watched me for years, you know that a lot of this takes a lot of time and expense for me to bring you all of these 4K versus Blu-ray, image comparisons, and all of these special effects that I put into all of my exclusive videos. So there's two ways that you can always help to support this YouTube channel. There's a link that appears with a heart symbol right below this video, and that's called a super thanks. And that's a way for you to help support this YouTube channel. And I do ask that if you enjoy my content and you enjoy this video, that you would please consider giving a super thanks. That money just goes right back into the channel and helps me continue to bring you all of this exclusive and special content. The other way to help support this channel is, if you're going to pick up this, make sure you go through the description section link right below this video. And that's the Amazon link for this exact release. So if you're going to pick up and buy this release, make sure to click through the link in the description section right below this video. That'll open up and it'll have the Amazon pre-order link listed out for this release right down there. And when you click on that and go out and buy that, that helps support this channel as well. So I ask, if you're going to pick this up, make sure to click through that link below. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a like for me, so make sure to give this a like. Click that subscribe button and the bell notification right next to it. That way you're one of the first ones to know about any of these early or special or exclusive releases that you're only going to find reviews of on my YouTube channel. And I just wanted to say thank you for all of your love and support that all of you guys and all of you gals have given to me over the years. I really, really appreciate it. Alright, we've got a lot more to cover here. Let's dive right back into this. Alright, getting back into this. Now, it did come with a nice slipcover on it, and I will say the slipcover on this does have a slightly more like shiny finish on it than some of the other slipcovers they've done on their special edition releases. And this is the special edition release of Children of the Corn. Now, there is a limited edition release of Children of the Corn coming out. It is the Children of the Corn Trilogy, so it has this as well as two other Children of the Corn movies on Blu Ray. but it only comes with the 4K release in that set of this. So this is for the 4K release that's in that set. Now, that is a UK only release and is not coming out regularly in the US, though I will be getting it here on the channel, and I will do a review on that as well, so you know what comes in that box set as well. I have a lot of viewers from outside the US, from all around the world, so I will be doing a review on that as well, but this will have the same 4K release in that set, so this review of the 4K will still apply to that as well, because it's the same 4K special edition release that's coming in that box set. You just get several extra goodies in that set, and my understanding is the Blu-rays in that are going to be region B locked. It's just the 4K is region free. So to get that out of the way, the 4K is region free in this release. They did not lock it in any shape or form, which is always good, because as all of you know that have watched the channel for a while, there are some companies that are doing some pretty dumb stuff and region locking their 4K releases. As you know, there have been several 4K Ultra HD releases in Germany, as well as in the US. We had 2 of them, and now in Scandinavia, there's several of them that have been region locking their 4Ks. Don't know why, doesn't make any sense, they're not supposed to, but that's why I always test everything exclusively on this channel, so that way any of you across the world want to buy this or import this, you'll know whether it's region free or not. This release is region free, so nothing you have to worry about. The disc plays perfectly fine anywhere, there's no region coding on it. Now, going into this, it does come with, like I said, slightly shinier finish on it, which I did like. The Flash Gordon release they released originally had more of a like matte finish on the slipcover. This is slightly shinier, and I do like that. And this HDR sticker, as most of you know, I've talked about this before, I like to take them off and stick them on my cases. Well, I got a little surprise for you. Arrow Video stuck it on there already. So it was not on the outside of the plastic, it was already on the inside of the slipcover. So if you like that, it's already on there. You don't have to put it on. It's nice. I like it. It's on there asymmetrically, so I don't have to do anything with it. If you don't like the sticker, it does come off and it doesn't tear it or leave any residue. You should be able to get it off easily. But for me, I like when they put that on there because I like that shiny sticker. But Children of the Corn Arrow Video says it on the side here on the slipcover. Then on the back, it goes into your regular data of what's in this Children of the Corn release. Now, I will tell you, it did get a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative by Arrow Films. 4K Ultra HD 2160p Blu-ray presentation. It has the Dolby Vision HDR10 as well, which I said we'd get to that. So if your player doesn't play Dolby Vision and your TV cannot represent Dolby Vision or play that, it will opt for the HDR10. But the Dolby Vision is where it's at, and the Dolby Vision did look the best. I played it on my basically HDR10 Blu-ray player, and it did not look nearly as good as the Dolby Vision. So Dolby Vision definitely looked the best of both options on it. But HDR10 was no slouch. It's just Dolby Vision, to me, you can definitely tell more between the lights to darks, and it does have more of a sharper image on that. Because of the lights to darks, it gives it that basically overall sense in it. So that's why I do like when it has Dolby Vision on it. Now, it does have the original uncompressed stereo, which is 2.0, and I was going to talk about it's English LPCM 2.0 for audio. And then you also get English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and that's a 48 kilohertz 24-bit audio mix, and that's where it's at. The LPCM 2.0, I'm sorry, doesn't hold a candle to that DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. That sounded way better, way more range to it. There's actually some scenes, obviously, with the explosion and things like that, where you could definitely, it was rocking the room, and I did like that audio mix on it. Though, I didn't notice that much of a difference in the audio mix, necessarily to my ears, over the Blu-ray that was released by Arrow Video previously. So, audio-wise, in my opinion, they were very similar. Might have been some slight tweaks, but from what I could tell, they were very similar. The big difference is obviously your visual quality. Special features, all the same between the previous special edition released by Arrow Video. I didn't find any that were any different, so you're getting the same special features on that. So, if you own the previous special edition release of Children of the Corn by Arrow Video, you basically can get rid of that or sell that and get this, and you'll have all of that content in it. Now, you can obviously keep them if you collect them. I know I do, and so a lot of the times I'll keep both editions of it because I like to collect these. But that's up to each of you what you want to do with that, but I did want to let you know all the special features that I had in that release were the same ones listed in this special edition release as well. Now, going into more on the special edition release, it does have your slipcover on it, and I put the reversible artwork to show you what comes on this set. This is the reversible artwork. The other artwork on it is this. So you either get this as your artwork, or you can reverse the cover to this artwork. And I always love how Arrow Video throws that reversible artwork in there. I do like the new cover artwork, but I like being able to put the case on the inside with the reversible and then having the slipcover on the outside. So that's just to give you an idea there. On the side, you get slightly different artwork, obviously with the kids in the corn here. And then on the back, it looks just slightly different. Now, getting inside here, you basically get your postcard, which is them advertising another release they have coming out here. Then you get your book in here, and this is for the special edition release. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's not a super thick book. It's more or less a pamphlet in this case. So it's not as big as some of the Arrow Video books that have come out before, but it's still nice. It has color pictures on it, black and white pictures. It goes into behind the cast, about the restoration. It talks about what they did basically for this restoration. And it talks about how they scanned this for the 4K release and how they restored it for this 4K release. And I always like reading those. So it is a good read, but it's not as thick as some of their other booklets that have come out before. And the limited edition release that is coming out that I will have a review on the channel that I talked about just a little while ago, that one will have a thicker book is my understanding that'll go through basically the other Children of the Corn releases. But this one was nice, and for the US, because this is the US release that we're getting in the US, I think it's a nice addition that adds to the special edition. It's a 1-disc 4K set, and the 4K disc in it is a BD100. So for the native 2160p 4K image that's on this, because it's a 4K scan and not an upscale, plenty of room for the content because it's a 92-minute movie too. So they're able to fit 92-minute movie plus all of the special features on there, and there was no problems with the content, especially if it's a BD100. It was nice that they put it on a BD100 instead of like a BD66, because some companies have been using BD66s for their 4K releases, and I have seen on some of the special features some heavy compression. Didn't notice it on this one. When I was watching the special features, they looked just fine. All put back together now. On this set, you also get subtitles. You do get English subtitles on this. That was the only subtitle option on it. So whether you live in the UK or the US, you will only get English subtitle options, and that's all that Arrow put on it. The aspect ratio is in the original 1.85.1. They did not cut it down when they did the scan. They left it to the original aspect ratio without changing, editing, or cutting it down in any shape or form. Always appreciate that, and Arrow usually does a pretty good job on that, and they did not change or edit that at all. Overall, I wish it would have been re-released in a limited edition set in the US where it had a thicker book and a poster and things like that, but that's simply not how they released it, and they're not going to release it in the US that way. So this special edition is the way it comes, and I do like it. I just like those big hard cases that basically Arrow Video releases them in. But cost-wise, you're looking at a lot less expensive because it doesn't come with that big box and all the extra things thrown into it. Had a smaller booklet and things like that in it. So cost-wise, you're looking at a lot less. You're looking between somewhere around $33 all the way up to about $40 for this, as opposed to some of those limited editions. They range anywhere between like $50, sometimes up to $65. So you do spend a lot less for this. So it is one that I think is more affordable to pick up, especially around that $30 price range. It's definitely well worth picking up, especially over the upgrade over that previous Blu-ray release, even from Arrow. If you own that and you want the Ultimate Edition, this is the way to buy it. Though I do think the 4K disc is really where it's at. That Dolby Vision brought out so much more in that image, and you will notice heavy film grain in it though. So keep that in mind. The film grain is good, because if you sat down side by side, just like I showed you with those side-by-side screenshots earlier in the review, there is a drastic difference between the two of them. And the 4K in this is a drastic upgrade, and well worth paying the money to upgrade to get this new release, because it did have a lot more depth to those colors, lights to darks, the image. It just overall looked drastically better on this 4K Ultra HD release. So I'm happy to report it is worth your money to buy this. So my review score for this, it gets a great 9.6. Arrow Video has been knocking it out of the park with their 4K releases. I've been doing a lot of these 4K releases from Arrow Video that they've been sending to me, and it's been great. As all of you know, just because Arrow Video sent it to me, that doesn't affect my review score. Like you've seen in previous releases, it all depends on what the content is and the quality, and this one they did a great job with. 9.6 is a great review score. Arrow Video, keep it up. I'm loving these. You're doing a great job with these restorations and remasters, and I'm excited for the next ones that come out. Now, I should be getting Legend, the limited edition on Blu-ray that Arrow Video is releasing. They did contact me about that. I should be getting that early here very soon to do an early review on that as well. That comes out here in about 2 weeks as well. I did get this one early, about 2 weeks before release date. By the time this review is coming out for y'all to watch, it'll probably be like a week and a half or so before it releases. This does come out for everyone to buy on September 28th, 2021. So if you go down through that link in description right below this video, you can either pre-order it, or if you're watching this after it's come out, you can buy it through that link below. And I do highly recommend picking up this release. 9.6 is a great review score, and I thought it was well worth the upgrade, especially for the price. Make sure to let me know in the comment section below if you own the previous Arrow Video Blu Ray release of Children of the Corn, and if you're excited to upgrade to this new 4K. Let me know what your thoughts are on the film, and if you love the film itself. I always love to hear from all of you, so make sure you start that conversation in the comment section right below this video. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, because I'll have a lot more of these exclusive and early reviews coming out. Arrow Video has been sending me a lot of these, and I've had a great time working with them. They've been a great company, and I really do love a lot of these releases that are coming out. I've been excited to get all these early, to get all this exclusive and special early content out to you as soon as possible. So make sure you subscribe, and make sure to give this video a like for me. And stay tuned, because very soon I'm going to be having that Legend limited edition Blu-ray release. I'll be doing that review on the channel as well, and that's going to be another big one that I'm excited to get into that one to see what the difference is between the limited edition on that versus the previous universal release of that before, because that's a full restoration that's being released on Blu-ray. So that one's going to be an interesting one to dive into and do a comparison on as well. I've been doing a lot of extra work on these videos to do something special for all of you. I wanted to make my channel something special that everyone would come to watch something that took a lot of extra time and a lot of extra work to put out these reviews. So it's not just me holding something and talking about it, but showing you above, here's the differences on the scans, and here's what you're gonna see. So that way there's more into these reviews. Let me know if you really enjoy these. Make sure to comment below and give me a like. Let me know how much you've been enjoying these comparisons, and if you've been looking forward to each week when I do these exclusive or early reviews. I had a fun time today, and if you're going to pick up this release, make sure to go down to the description section below, click through that link below and buy it through there. That way it helps support this channel so I can keep spending all this extra time and putting in this extra work to do these special 4K versus Blu-ray and these exclusive reviews. I hope all of you have a blessed day, and I look forward to doing this again with all of you real soon.